race fans, and welcome to Austria for the final time. Here we are at the main straight of Red Bull Ring, and the beautiful grid of 32 Formula 4 cars is just behind my back. We are ready for the first time ever in the history of the FIA Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship for the fourth race of the weekend. Yes, that's the new rule being applied this season. The last fourth race of the weekend for the top 32 drivers from the previous 3 races, and it will be actually this Czech Borenstein starting the race. The pole position is blue and car. Earlier today, we were celebrating this guy as the race winner for the second time this weekend here on Red Bull Ring again, but there has been a change because there was a penalty applied after the race. Theodor Borenstein won earlier today and he was stripped of that victory, which means that the new race winner of the previous race is actually this guy with number 7 on his Mafia racing car. It is David Walter who eventually won the race today after the penalty being applied to the final time of Theodor Borenstein. There was a penalty because of leaving the track and gaining the advantage. This guy also carries home a winning trophy from the season opener here on Red Bull Ring. So good already for David Walter. So the front row is Theodor Borenstein and Elia Weiss. The second row, as I mentioned already, David Walter. Alongside him, the Czech hero Max Karhan, last year's runner-up. Max Karhan this time will be starting the final race of the weekend with his car number 144 from the 4th place on the grid with his very typical helmet. I love the culture of art cars from Le Mans, and basically Max helmet is like an art car. Just look at the details at the helmet. So many motifs, some skulls, some stickers from petrol companies. It's amazing design. You can always recognize Max Karhan by wearing this helmet in the cockpit of his car. Behind Max Karhan, we have the other drivers. Simon Rechache with number 3 over there. He is the newcomer, but he is doing amazing job this weekend. And again, he's up in the front on the grid, so very good for him. Alongside his teammate actually with number 29, it is Elia Rykov, Bulgarian. So these are the top 6 drivers on the grid. As I said previously, 32 cars on the grid in total. Let's move to the right hand side because we will be leaving the grid I believe this way when the signal of 1 minute to go will be given. Yes, it's happening right now. So the race will be starting in 1 minute. Make sure are joining us for the final race of the weekend of the opener of the FIA Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship. Thank you so much. So one more time, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're from, are you joining us today afternoon? A very good afternoon from me, from the commentary box on the Red Bull Ring. Again, left starting grid, and I am back in the paddock to watch the final race of the weekend, of the first weekend of the 2026 F4 CEZ campaign here on Red Bull Ring together with you, and I believe you are ready, as I am, because this will be a great final showdown. As I said on the grid, the final race of the weekend with 32 top drivers from previous 3 races on the grid. That's the new system applied for 2026. We now have 4 races each weekend, and only the top 32 drivers are being qualified for the final race based on the results from the previous races. Actually, in total, we do have 42 drivers for the first weekend of the 2026 season. It's only the 4th season of the championship, and even though we still have more than 40 drivers for the full season, and this is absolutely breathtaking. And of course, this is the record-breaking field here on Red Bull Ring, so it's really good to watch. And again, we are watching the cars back on the grid. Theodor Borenstein will be starting the race from pole position. This time he wants to win because, as I said on the grid, he was stripped of the victory after the race. We've been watching Elia today because he left the track and gained an advantage, which is absolutely not allowed, of course. So David Walter won. I believe that the grid is almost ready. The last car on the grid is also there. That's Thomas Rudokas. The green flag is being given at the moment, so we are waiting, and we are racing for the final time here on Red Bull Ring. 25 minutes to go, and it was a very good start by Elia Weiss. It's a great battle between the 2 teammates, Elia Weiss and Theodor Borenstein, and Elia Weiss takes the lead. Maybe not so much. It was a great fight between the 2 Jenzer Motorsport cars. Still, it might be Borenstein up in the front, but there is also David Walter trying to find his way in the white Mafia Racing car. It's a great battle between Mafia Racing and Jenzer Motorsport into the 3rd corner. Behind these 2, it's also Max Karhan and the other racers. Huge lockup by one of the drivers. Here is Mika Hakkinen in the Papaya car. She is also qualified for the final race, so good racing debut in single-seaters for Mika Hakkinen, the 15-year-old daughter of Mika Hakkinen. But now this is the close battle for the first place into the 4th corner here on Red Bull Ring. Still a Jenzer Motorsport car up in the front, but this was a wild start. And we've seen some great racing already around the first lap of the race. Very good job done by all the young drivers because they avoided a contact. There was almost no collision. Just one car had a problem in the 3rd corner, and it was the car number 2 actually. And that is Erik Paulsen, who lost some places. But look at this great battle up in the front. With number 3, it is Simon Rechenmacher. I told you on the starting grid that he is a newcomer, but he is doing some amazing job over his first weekend in the championship. And right now, Simon Rechenmacher already in 4th place. Meanwhile, Theodor Borenstein is in the lead, so he was under pressure. He is still under pressure, as you can see, but he is keeping himself in the 1st place, climbing up into the 3rd corner again. But now there is an attempt from David Walter. Great battle for the 1st place between Borenstein and Walter, and it's a wheel-to-wheel battle for the 1st place in the 2nd lap of the race. Nice fight between David Walter and Theo Borenstein. One more time, David Walter won the most recent race here on Salzburg Ring. Of course, on Red Bull Ring, I'm sorry, after the penalty being applied to Theodor Borenstein. So this must be also a time for a redemption if we speak about Theo Borenstein, because of course now he wants to be the winner of the final race, but it won't be easy for the Czech driver in his fight against the Danish guy, David Walter, racing for Mafia Racing. So at the moment, David Walter is leading the race behind the wheel of his Mafia Racing Tatus D421. The classic Formula 4 chassis, also being used in F1 Academy by the top ladies. racing alongside Formula 1 cars, and we also have some girls from F1 Academy in the field here on a Red Bull Ring. On the main straight again, Walter leads ahead of Borenstein. Simon Rechenmacher racing for Gram Motorsport in 3rd place. Elia Weiss in P4, Max Karhan in P5, and the Czech driver, last year's runner-up in the championship, he is stuck there behind Elia Weiss. This will be a tough race for Max Karhan. Behind Karhan it is Alexander Bogunovic and Andreas Lobue racing for Renauer Motorsport this season. Georgi Zasov in P8, Markus Šilkunas from Lithuania in 9th place, and Francesco Pio Coppola. Oh no, there was a contact of 2 cars in the 3rd corner of the racetrack. It's number 35, that's Filippo Fiorentino, and number 10, that is Ginevra Panzeri, so one of the drivers racing also for the Women Trophy. This is with number 10, Ginevra Panzeri, and she is having troubles with her car. She's trying to get going again, but also the other guy, Filippo Fiorentino, he's still standing outside that corner, and now we have both cars here. And there are some gestures actually, so maybe some non-verbal communication between these 2 drivers, but most likely we will have a full course yellow or safety car. Yes, safety car is out. Safety car has been deployed because we do have these 2 cars at the outside of the 3rd corner, so the race has been neutralized after 5 minutes of hard racing. So safety car is on the track again. Good news for some drivers, worse news for the others. For example, for David Walter, because he was in the lead of the race, ahead of Theodor Borenstein, and he was trying to make a decent gap between him and Theo. But now the gap will be gone. There will be no more differences between drivers. So the race is under full course yellow. The safety car is on the track. And again, I believe we are going to witness some great work done by the race marshals here on a Red Bull Ring. They belong among the very best in the world in doing this job. Very well experienced guys. And I hate to say that, but this is the end for Filippo Fiorentino. Most likely the engine is not running anymore, so that's the problem, and that's a disaster for Filippo. But still many races to come this season. We are only at the beginning of the 2026 campaign, and we still have plenty of races to go. The season has just started, and it is going to continue at the end of May, again in Austria, but this time we will be racing on Salzburg Ring. Then at the beginning of June it will be another round in Slovakia, on Slovakia Ring. And for the summer season we are going to move to the Czech Republic for another 2 rounds. We will be racing from 31st of July to 2nd of August in Most, and then the 2nd weekend of September, we will be in Brno. The season final will take place at the late October in Hungary, on a Hungaroring, of course, which is, I believe, absolutely breathtaking after the reconstruction. And at this brand new modern racing facility, just like Red Bull Ring is, so we are also very much looking forward to visiting our Hungarian friends on Hungaroring at the late October for the season final. But Until then, we have many more races to come in a season which I believe is going to be the most exciting ever if we speak about the short history of FIA Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship 2023, the first ever champion, Ethan Isher. Then it was Oscar Wurz, much celebrated in Austria because he took the title on the home soil on the Salzburg ring. Last year's champion was Gino Trappa, winning the title after intense battle against Max Karhan in Brno. Every time the team championship has been won by Jenzer Motorsport so far. And again, I believe that Jenzer Motorsport has the best shot to do it again. But there are other teams. Of course, we should mention Mafia Racing, doing a great job. With also David Walter winning the race this weekend here, so the chance is here for everybody. So, almost at the halfway, 15 minutes and 30 seconds to go. The car of Filippo Fiorentino belongs to Harp Racing and it is being transported out of the track. So I believe we are going to spend one more lap behind the safety car and then we might be able to restart the race. And I just hope to have a proper final showdown because we do have a lot of drivers hungry for victory today. And we've seen already some close racing. And I believe that's what are we going to watch to the end of the race. David Walter still in the lead, so he is going to restart the race from the first place, ahead of Theo Borenstein and Simon Rechenmacher. Elia Weiss in fourth place, ahead of his teammate from Jenzer Motorsport, Max Karhan. Alexander Bogunovic in sixth, Andreas Leboué in seventh, Georgi Zasov in a P8 ahead of Marcus Shilkunas, Francesco Pio-Coppola in a P10 ahead of another Czech driver, David Gorčica, again racing for Janik Motorsport. And behind David there is the leader of Women Trophy, Mathilda Paatz. Again, I met her in the paddock proudly wearing the Aston Martin merch because she is the member of Aston Martin Young Driver Development Program, and you can also watch her in Formula 1 Academy. So it's great to have such a driver in this field of talented and dedicated youngsters. As I said, safety car in this lap. Here we go, the safety car enters the pit lane again and we will be racing for the final 13 minutes here on a Red Bull Ring. And this is a good restart done by David Walter. He is keeping himself in the first place, so very good job done by the Danish driver here. Very well managed the pace. But now here is Theo Borenstein under pressure. David Walter is pulling away. Meanwhile, Theo Borenstein is under pressure from Simon Rechenmacher, and this is going to be fight for the second place. Climbing up the hill into the third corner, also Elia Weiss closely behind these two. Wheel-to-wheel battle, a lock-up done by Theo Borenstein in the third corner, but still in second place. Let's wait and see who is going to have a better exit from the third corner. Still Borenstein. But the battle is on, and now it is a battle between Borenstein and Weiss. Elia Weiss overtook Simon Rechenmacher, which means we have a new driver in third place, and it is Elia Weiss. He has already been on a podium this weekend here on Red Bull Ring, and now he is hungry for more. The incident between Ginevra Panzeri and Filippo Fiorentino is under investigation, so most likely there is going to be some conclusion after the race. But right now, let's be focused on this nice battle between the two teammates from Jenzer Motorsport, Borenstein versus Elia Weiss. But also still Rechenmacher racing for Kran Motorsport in the mix. Here we are again on the main straight with 11.5 minutes to go, and nothing has been decided yet. Weiss in second ahead of Borenstein. Very good lap done by Elia Weiss, this young German, after the restart of the race. He is showing some strong pace in this stage of the third race of the weekend here on Red Bull Ring. So Weiss is leading the way in this group, climbing up the hill again, but he needs to be careful. A lot of hungry drivers behind him. Oh no, there was a touch between Rechenmacher and Borenstein got hit by Rechenmacher in the third corner. This is a disaster for the Czech driver Theo Borenstein. Oh no, this is the last thing you want to happen. Again, a double yellow flag in the third corner. Borenstein gets his car going again. That's the crucial thing, of course. We will not have the safety car again. Wow, it's hard to judge for me. Who shall I blame here? But still, Borenstein was definitely ahead of Simon Rechenmacher, so maybe Rechenmacher was just too ambitious here. I would say this was most likely Rechenmacher's mistake, because he was trying to find the space at the inside line, but he wasn't going even side by side with Borenstein, so it was, I would say, too ambitious from Rechenmacher, and unfortunately the race of Theo Borenstein has been ruined here. This is a huge upset for the Czech driver, but still many more races to come. The disappointment will disappear with the next success that I believe Theo Borenstein will definitely reach in this season. So the new standings up in there: Walter leads ahead of Weiss, then it's Karhan, and then it's Rechenmacher, Alexander Bogunovic in 5th, Georgi Zasov in 6th, Francesco Pio Coppola in P7. Then it is David Gorczyca. There was the red and white car of Yannick Motorsport being driven by Gorczyca in 8th place. Markas Chilkunas, the Lithuanian driver, in 9th, driving another Jenzer Motorsport car. And Mathilda Paatz already in a top 10. She is actually in P10 at the moment, still leading the women class. But no, there is more drama. Car number 31 off the track. This is Knut Eske Nielsen, racing for Real Racing. That's the team under Romanian flag. Meanwhile, we have the confirmation that the incident between Rechenmacher and Borenstein is under investigation, so maybe we can expect some kind of penalty here, and maybe this was just a driver's mistake. Unfortunate situation, of course, for Knut Eske Nielsen, but we are still going on the green. And as you can see here, the front wing is missing, so maybe there was a contact between the number 31 and the other car just moments before this crash, because I believe that Knut Eske Nielsen did not lose the front wing by crashing into the barrier. Yes, I'm correct, there is no front wing lying under the car, so... And we have a red flag! We have a red flag for some reason. Wow, so that's a major change. For some reason, the race has been stopped by a red flag while we were watching Knut Eske Nielsen leaving his car. Okay, so for some reason there is a red flag. And I do not think that this is the reason, actually, because this could be actually a very easy job for the marshals. to take this car away from the gravel zone, but race has been stopped. There was also some problem to Andreas Lobue, because he dropped down to 28th position. So maybe there was a contact between Nielsen and Lobue. I can't say honestly. I'm trying to find out why do we have a red flag right now. Okay, and now I can see there is another car standing on the track. It's number 8, and that is Andreas Lobue. Yes, I was talking about him. And Andreas is walking there. Maybe changing the gear to neutral for the car to be rescued. So we do have 2 cars standing next to the racing track, and the race has been stopped, and the crucial information is that the race will be resumed, I believe. So yes, from the information I've been given, we will see more racing. Yes, it has been confirmed by the race control, so the race will be resumed. Okay, so we will have another 7.5 minutes of racing here. So this is not the end of the race. We are in, let's say, comfortable position, because there is no more, or there are no more races after this one. So that's the reason why we have a chance for a restart. So now I'm just wondering what happened to the car of Andreas Lobue, the car entered by the Austrian team Austrian Motorsport, because I could not see any damage to the car. I just saw Andreas walking around, so it only means he is okay, and that's the most important thing, of course. So maybe it was some kind of mechanical problem which made him stop and eventually also retire. Pretty unfortunate for Andreas. I've been talking to his father on the pit lane just before the race has started, and he was telling me about their choice. Why did they choose Austrian Motorsport for 2026 campaign? He told me he believes it's the right step for his son after last year's debut in Mafia Racing. But still, this is only the first race weekend of the season, so plenty of races to come for Andreas Lobue and also rest of the field. So it's time to keep the head up, not being too disappointed. Still, it can be a great season for anybody. It's still too early to judge. So here is the rescue track for the car of Andreas Lobue, the Swiss guy who made his Formula 4 debut last year. And yeah, I have a great memory of having Andreas and his father Enzo in Prague last year, because for the Golden Steering Wheel Award in Prague, he was there together with Jean Alesi, the former Formula 1 driver, and his mentor. We've been presenting Jean Alesi with the special prize for his lifetime commitment to the world of racing, so it was also great to have Andreas on stage together with Jean Alesi. We had some pleasant chat before the audience in Prague, and it was a lovely evening last year. And I still believe that we are only watching the beginning of very promising career of this exceptional young man from Switzerland. And I must say that I believe that the best is yet to come from Andreas. Speaking of Golden Steering Wheel Award, it's just amazing that we have a chance of welcoming a legend of road racing almost every year in Prague. This year we awarded Jackie X with the Lifetime Achievement Award during the gala night in February. And it was quite amazing to have a 20 minutes live talk show with such a personality like Jackie X, the 6-time Le Mans 24 Hours winner and the Formula 1 runner-up. So, yes, also Czechia is still the center of road racing, and it's just so cool that I can say something like that. Also in the Czech Republic we have the Formula 4 Academy for the young drivers, so we can say that from some point of view the Czechia is the home soil for this championship. And we are still waiting for the first Czech champion, and as it seems to me we might have a good chance this year, because I believe that mostly Max Karhan and Borenstein will be fighting each other for the championship title. You can of course judge me at the end of the season whether I was right or not, but I believe I am. So the cars are back on the pit lane. Drivers still sitting in their cars, waiting for the race to be restarted. Again, it will be a crucial moment for the young Danish driver David Walter, still leading the field. He had restarted well already once in this race. It was after the safety car period. So now he will have to do it again after the red flag. So he is going to be under even more pressure in just 5 minutes. Yes, it has been confirmed from the race control. The race will be restarted in 5 minutes behind the safety car. So it will be the same situation for David Walter. One more time, leading the field to the main straight. He will be managing the pace up in the front. And of course, he will try to pull away as quickly and as possible. So it is in 3 minutes. So it will be a quick restart procedure here. And meanwhile, the incident between Ginevra Panzeri and Filippo Fiorentino is still being under investigation. And I'm waiting also for some information about Simon Rechenmacher. Of course, it can be judged also as a racing incident between him and Theo Borenstein, but I would be surprised if that's the case. So still, maybe there will be a penalty applied to Simon Rechenmacher, currently sitting in 4th place behind Max Karhan. So we do have a green flag at the end of pit lane again, so race has been officially restarted on the safety car. So let's wait and see how many laps will be going behind the safety car. Still 7 minutes and 20 seconds to go. So this will be a proper final showdown for the final race of the FIA Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship here on Red Bull Ring. Me personally, I would love to see only one lap behind the safety car, of course, to get as much racing as possible. And I have a strong belief that the drivers would agree with me on that matter, but just let's wait and see. First of all, we need to have the whole field on the track, and we must not have large gaps between the drivers. So it's a procedure that is going to take some time, of course. Meanwhile, it's so important to get your tires up into the right temperature again. It also will be a crucial thing for the final minutes of the race. To work with your car, to work with your tires, to make everything ready. So we do have the information now. Safety car will leave the track at the end of this lap. So we will have final 5 minutes of racing. So ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready for the final showdown here on Red Bull Ring. This will be exciting 5 minutes of racing. The final and the fourth race of the opening weekend of the 2026 season, and nothing has been decided yet. This will be a proper fight for the race win here at home of the Austrian Formula 1 Grand Prix. 5 minutes to go and the race has been restarted again. David Walter is leading the way on the main straight, and he will be the first racer into the first corner. Again, very good job done by the young Danish driver who leads the field into the corner number 1. So Walter leads ahead of Elia, Weiss and Max Karhan in P3, ahead of Simon Rechenmacher. So far so good for all the drivers. One car is going really wide in the first corner into the tarmac runoff area, but there has been no contact, and here we are again at the top of the hill. That's the corner number 3, and here are some more battles. Wheel-to-wheel racing again. Still very good for Walter, who leads the race. With 4 minutes to go, this is starting to look really, really good for David Walter. He just has the pace to win it, I believe so. And behind him, this might be a battle for the second place between Elia, Weiss and Max Karhan. Elia Weiss must be careful here. Of course, he can see Max Karhan in his mirrors. And this will be challenging final stage of the race for Elia Weiss, because Max Karhan definitely will put him under pressure here on the main straight again. So last time around, David Walter was the quickest driver with 1:33.7. So already there is a gap between him and Elia Weiss, but at the same time we do have a yellow flag at turn number 6 for some reason. So there was more drama. Yes, and we had one car off the track also in the fourth corner. So right now we do have 2 yellow sections in the 5th and 6th corner. There is one car off the track, yes. So who is it here? It looks like Muffy colors, but I'm not so sure about it. And I'm afraid that we have a red flag again. Okay. And I'm afraid that that's it. Only 2 minutes to go. I am afraid that the race will not be resumed, and I am right, unfortunately. So the race has ended under the second red flag, which means that David Walter takes his second win of the weekend. So after all, David Walter is the most successful driver of the first weekend of the 2026 season. Very good job done by David Walter, who has won this race ahead of Elia Weiss and Max Karhan in third place. Simon Rechenmacher still in P4, ahead of Alexander Bogunovic. Just wait and see for the final going through the main straight, or maybe through the pit lane already. Yes, the cars should be going into the pit lane immediately because we've been giving the red flag. So yes, that's the case. So no checkered flag this time. David Walter is the race winner ahead of Elia Weiss. So it's the second race win today for Mafia Racing. They must be delighted in the garage. Elia Weiss in second ahead of Max Karhan, both racing for Jenzer Motorsport. Simon Rechenmacher in P4, racing for Kram Motorsport. Alexander Bogunovic in fifth, Georgi Zasov in sixth place. P7 for David Gorczyca, racing for Yannick Motorsport. Francesco Pio Coppola in P8, just ahead of Mathilda Paatz. She wins the Women Trophy in this race. Markas Chilkunas in P10, ahead of Bennett Gaspar. Lyuboslav Rykov in 12th position. Stefan Treneski in P13. Igor Polak in P14. Ella Hakkinen in 15th place. Viktor Snebjorn Polsen in 16th. Alexia Danielsson in P17, ahead of František Němec. Augustin Sepulveda in 19th place, ahead of Alexander Luza. Antonio Erigo in P21. Theo Borenstein in P22, ahead of Eric Paulsen, Jade Jacquet and Jorge Luis. Bruno, 25 cars will be classified most likely after this race. So that's it from Red Bull Ring, and I am so excited for the next race weekend, which will take place on Salzburg Ring from 29th to 31st of May. It will be with my commentary colleague Pavel Fabry, and I hope that you are going to enjoy it very, very much. So thank you for joining us during the weekend, and goodbye.